What's up, man?
Jordan Loyd, what's going on, dude? Mr. Worldwide. I was thinking about your basketball career, man. You've played everywhere except the United States. It's pretty crazy.
Isn't that crazy, bro? I get into the NBA and then the one team that's not inside the US. It's so I'm worldwide, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's so good to see you. You look healthy, dude.
Thank you. You too, man. Looking good.
Thanks. Are you so run me through it. Like first you initially started in the G League right off of getting out of UND, and then what are all the different places you've been in your career to this point?
Oh man. Okay, so yeah, G League in Fort Wayne with the Mad Ants, and then my second year I went to Eilat, Israel.
Okay.
Played in the Winter League, top league in Israel, and then from Israel I got the two-way with Toronto.
Right.
And then after Toronto, went to Valencia in Spain, first year EuroLeague. And
Okay.
then after first year EuroLeague in Spain, went to Belgrade, played at
All right.
Red Star in Serbia. And then after Serbia, went to Russia, Zenit in the St. Petersburg.
And that was this past season that you
That
just
was,
wrapped up. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And I read online that you signed a 2-year deal with the Russian team. With the whole Ukrainian invasion, that probably put kaputs to the league, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, I did. I had plans to be there for a while, and then
Okay.
obviously with everything going on there, it was best for me and my family to kind of
Yeah.
look elsewhere. But it was a great situation there, and at St. Petersburg, the people, the club was really really great. So, but
Good.
honestly, just for the time, it was like, hey, I got to look for somewhere else. Unfortunately, trying to find a home, man.
Yeah, well, and I don't want to stir up controversy, but obviously, the Brittany Griner situation in Russia, like, what was daily life like for you, just as a normal citizen trying to get through life there?
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It was completely normal. I mean, besides you not being able to use your American credit cards, you need a VPN for social media. But man, I mean, like outside in St. Petersburg, it was normal. Everything's open. You would never know anything's going on, which is kind of crazy.
So, as far as like news coverage, what are you
None,
seeing on TV? Yeah.
nothing. Well, I never watched TV anyway out there, like the local TV. For one, I wouldn't understand it, and then two, it was always Netflix or something I had on my iPad or something. But
Right.
nothing, man. No coverage. No, it was just never really spoke about, and I just left it at that. I was there to do my job, play basketball, and get back
Yeah.
home safely. So that was really it, man. It wasn't too much into that. It's
And
crazy.
just one more thing, because I mean, you're playing with guys who are Russian born. I mean, are you having a lot of political
Well,
conversations with
and,
them?
and that's the thing, man.
Yeah.
I did feel bad for obviously some of the guys on the team because they were getting a lot of hate obviously from around the world, but you also feel bad for the people in Ukraine. You're the ones going through it, obviously, of
Right.
course. But we never, you know, those people didn't ask for that, on both sides, but we never talked about it. My teammates, we came there, we talked about
Mm.
basketball, we talked about what we were going to eat, and that was it. It was never, it was never a conversation. So,
Yeah. I've asked other players who have played internationally like what the language barrier is like. What's the strongest alternate language that you have in your arsenal, dude?
man, it's sad. All these countries, and I can barely speak any of them. But
Yeah.
being in Russia, it was difficult to learn their language. Honestly, I only could learn a few words, but that would definitely be like the deepest or toughest language that I've been a part of or lived in their culture. So Russian was very
Yeah.
out there, very foreign.
And I'm just thinking of it like logistically because it's hard for five people to cooperate and make it work when they're all speaking the same language. Like, was it difficult to sometimes get things
Well,
correct? With
yeah, it well, you know what? Our coach was Spanish, and he has a really deep accent. So
oh,
I'm in Russia trying to understand his Spanish accent, and then the assistant coach is Spanish, so we have a Russian or a Greek, another Greek assistant. So it's a lot of accents, but overall, there will be times where coach will say something, and I'll be like, what? Then he'll get mad we didn't know it or something. But it
yeah.
was a lot of different languages, a lot of accents, but we got through it okay.
Well, and we know each other from the time that we spent together at the University of Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of your playing time as a Greyhound take me through, like, let's start kind of running through your college career a little bit. I know that you transferred in to the D2 school, that is UND. Like, what ultimately kind of led you there?
Man, honestly, it was God and our family friend, man. I was looking to transfer from Furman, and the head coach, Coach G at UND, had met the head coach, the women's head coach at Xavier in New Orleans at a
Mm-hmm.
tournament. I think it was somewhere in the Caribbean somewhere. They met each other. And we're really good friends with the head coach. His name is Coach Bo Browder, the women's basketball coach at Xavier in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And he told us, hey, man, he's like, I heard George's looking for a new school. I just ran into this other coach, Coach Gerard, at this tournament at
Yeah.
University of Indianapolis. And that's literally how that started. I knew nothing about UND, never heard of it. But I knew I was looking for somewhere to play. And then the more I looked into it, I was like, this is a great basketball place, great school.
Yeah.
And that's literally how it started. And then I got on the phone with him. I got up there to try to practice. He tried to see, if I was good enough to make his team and then go from there.
Well, and I was surprised when you start kind of going into Coach G's career and all the accomplishments he's had. Good Lord. A
I know, it's crazy.
two-time like National Player of the Year. Like,
He's big time, man.
how valuable was Coach Gerard in your development, just with what he's been around and all that he experienced?
Man,
Yeah.
everything. Man. Coach Gerard is like, we still stay in touch to this day, but just the knowledge he and the wisdom he instilled on me and all the other guys, man, was like, it was so priceless, man, because you're learning from somebody who's been in your shoes, done more than you, knows more than you, and could play. It's not like somebody that's just, read about it or watched it. So he was so valuable and just instilling life lessons, and days I didn't like him, days he didn't like me, that
Yeah.
just made us closer, man.
I don't know how old he is, but he seems to just be an ageless wonder. Did he ever play like in practice if things weren't going right?
He would do like spurts, he'll be like, you gotta do this, he'll do like a quick spurt, quick move. It was never too much now. I ain't give him that much credit, but he would definitely shoot around with us. His energy was always there. And yes, that was a great point. He's very ageless. He looks the same all the time.
Well, and I heard because I just went to Pro Am here in Indy.
Yeah.
UND's going D1. Did I hear that somewhere? Or
That's
not?
the rumor, man. I don't know. Okay, you're not gonna. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard that. That would be pretty cool to see. Obviously, the school to make that leap, but I honestly don't know.
Oh, okay.
I hope so. I hope so.
It's just in the rumor mill for now.
That's the rumor mill right now.
And a lot of college guys, ones that I crossed paths with and knew from high school, they were so concentrated on getting to a D1 school. Is that an overrated thing, or is it important?
You know what? Yeah, coming up out of high school is very like D1 or bust.
Yeah.
If I would have known about D2, NAIA, even D3, just any other forms of other schools, I think it would help a lot of guys out, because I didn't know my dad, who was my coach, we didn't talk to really any D2 schools. It was just, hey, you got to go D1 or like I said, it's a bust. But after having my experience at UND and learning about all the Division II schools, man, it's like there's so many other guys that could get scholarships and go to school for free, get education.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's something I've always been telling guys that are coming up. Hey, it doesn't matter if you go D1 or D2, you want to go somewhere you're going to play and have a good role and a good education.
Well, and you got to have tape, right? Like,
and you got to have tape.
Like, you had an opportunity once you came in. You were initially started off the bench and then played a bigger and bigger role. Like, to go from Georgia to Indianapolis, you're away from your family. Like, basketball was sort of all that you had to stay concentrated. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're right, man. That's literally like, that was the reason, and it's like, I know that I'm getting something out of it. I know I have opportunity to play. So it's like, make the most of it and see what happens.
And there was also a really impressive athletic locker room on campus that the NFL built. I'm just curious because it seems like football and basketball got some priority. Was there any resentment from other sports of like, oh, here comes a basketball player, we gotta make room, that sort of thing?
I didn't feel that too much. I know with football was like, the main sport. I feel like that was just my opinion. It was like kind of like a football, and everything else is under it. But yeah, I did feel like it was a smaller it was a small school, so I never felt like, oh, here comes the basketball team, or here come now.
Yeah.
Maybe people felt like that and didn't tell me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I never felt like we were, at least because I know for the basketball team, we had, good guys that were humble that, really wasn't like walking around campus like we were doing anything. It wasn't
Right.
that type of feel at all.
What what did you major in as far as education goes?
Yeah, I did. So I started trying to do business administration. That was, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do a full course of that. But I ended up doing environmental sustainability. It was like really new. I had extra time in school. So it was like something I really became interested in. And I
Okay.
had a few minor classes in business, but my overall degree was environmental sustainability. I know it's very different, but
So is
it
that
was
so basically you're trying to stop global warming and
stop
everything that
global warming. Well, yeah, and just also just learn about like emissions and what all these big companies have plants or factories, or they have sustainability teams. What kind of things they're putting into the air,
mm-hmm.
um, agriculture. There's a lot of different things we discussed, but it was just really just something that, because I'm not a big fan of school, but that was
Yeah.
something that really interested me. And I was like, well, if I can major in it and I have time to do it, I'm gonna do it. So it was pretty cool.
So just because I have family that dealt with the demands of college athletics, like what was a typical day for you at UND when you were in season?
Ooh, in season,
Yeah.
man, wake up, probably have like well, it just depends if I would get in the gym before class. If I had an early class, I usually wouldn't. So I would just go straight to class, probably 2 or 3 classes, lunch, probably one more class after lunch, and then practice. And then right from practice, be extremely tired, go to study hall or dinner first, then back to study hall, mandatory study hall. And then after study hall, back to the room, and then repeat that. And then now, if it's preseason, you'll have like 5 a.m. mile run before
Oh wow.
class. Yeah, lifting, and I forgot you got to add lifting in there somewhere. So it was a lot, man. But like to whom much is given, much is expected. So it was like that was
Yeah.
just kind of the norm, and we made the most of it.
Well, and maybe this is just totally off base, but I feel like basketball, especially, you have guys that play during the summer. I feel like football does have a month break where they can take a little bit of time off. Basketball doesn't seem to have as much of a break.
Yeah, it doesn't, because even in the summer, it's like if you do summer school, or there's always like some type of organized something going on year round, whether it be summer, spring, obviously during the season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like year round. Even now, it feels like even though the season's over, I go home, I'm still working out, I'm still doing things. So it's definitely a year round sport for sure.
And we went to the University of Indianapolis. It wasn't like we were going to IU and hanging
Right.
outside of Assembly Hall, but I feel like athletes are sort of the rock stars of today. Did you feel like you were sort of above the common student and were the big man on campus at points?
Uh I never really felt. What, my senior year, we had a well, really my junior year, we had a hell of a team, and we were like number one in the nation. We were like, we were
Mm-hmm.
playing well. I felt like it wasn't me per se, but I felt like our team was the thing on campus, if that makes sense. I felt like, that was like the now thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really personally just felt like walking around UND like, oh, people didn't really like, what I'm saying? Like people like, oh, there's Jordan. Like it was never like that. I never felt like, I knew people knew me or knew of me, but it was never this like feel of, oh,
Right.
big man on campus.
The thing is, like, especially for basketball players, because you're not wearing a helmet. Like
Right.
when you went out downtown or something, you're more recognizable than the common person.
True.
That's all I'm saying with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no, not for sure. Like going downtown, and then especially like other hoopers that were in college or Butler or somewhere else, that were people from IU that we would see, you would recognize them. So, but I don't know so much about you, Indy.
Let me ask you this, because I feel like so many transfers happen that it's sort of a balance between trying to handle adversity and just trying to find the right opportunity. Like, how much of sometimes someone transferring is about performance and the team and the player just needs to move on to different things?
So you're asking basically how much like about transfers, how much is it about like the spot you're going
Yeah, I
to?
mean, how much is it actually performance based? I mean, as much as they want to honor the
Ah,
scholarship, they also
Yeah.
want the best team that they can put on the court,
Yeah. No, it's to me, it's all performance based because you're only getting transferred if the school wants you. So like if the new
Yeah.
school that you're going to, if they don't like you, if they don't think you can play, they probably wouldn't want you to transfer. But it's everything. You got to be able to play, but also you have to be able to fit in the systems. A lot of different systems,
Mm-hmm.
the coaching style,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to have a role. You don't want to transfer somewhere, obviously, where you're just sitting on the bench, the whole time. So, but that happens a lot. Or they redshirt guys.
Yeah.
Colleges might, try to get them an extra year. So it's a whole thing.
I probably won't play basketball in this life or the next one. What was a play that would happen on the court that would get you amped up, man?
Oh man, play that would get me amped up. It's got to be a. It's either got to be a tough, like tough ISO 3, where you
Okay.
just like they play great defense and you still make the shot. It's a great feeling, making tough shots. And then like if my teammate, because it was never me, my teammate would dunk on somebody, or that was like I love seeing posters, man. Like because I can't do them myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
seeing my team, probably those two are the most that get me hyped.
And I feel like being a guard too, you certainly have a lot of free reign. Did Coach Gerard give you that green light early on, or did you have to work for it?
I feel like I had to work for it. On the outside looking in, it might think you were just given that. But like you said, when I first got there, I was coming off the bench. I came mid-season. I had to really adjust and kind of just play your role. You can't come in and just, be, just that wasn't it. You have to really just adjust to what's going on around you. So I definitely earned by my redshirt junior year, I earned that trust. Yes, there were times where he would want me to shoot, but it wasn't he would tell me, hey, be looking for your teammates, set others up because that'll free you up more as well. So it wasn't just go down and jack, but he knew me scoring was the best, chance for our team to win.
And you and I both know that chemistry is important with any sport. How important is it to basketball? I think it is especially
Oh,
important to that.
it's big, man, because I'm a big believer in chemistry off the court too. So like hanging out, getting food together, just doing little things together off the court is just gonna make the play on the court that much better. I still live by that today. No matter what team I go to professionally, I make an effort to be a great teammate and then just hang out with the guys off the court. And then on the court, it just becomes a little simpler. You learn how people like to play. But man, chemistry is everything. You can have the best players, but no chemistry, it won't work.
You have to be friends off the court. You alluded to it a
So that's the
little.
thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to be friends, but I think you definitely, because you don't have to be fake and be like, oh, I got to be your friend, but you have to definitely be cordial, respect. You have to respect the other person, and you have to be willing to listen and learn. You can't you can't have a big head, can't have an ego to where you think you know everything. So I keep that mindset, and you're not going to always be friends with everybody, but you would definitely need to have the respect.
Well, and Jordan, you're part of one of the most iconic pictures in NBA history. You know the one that I'm talking about.
I
The
know
one,
exactly what
the one that you're next to Kawhi with, man. Like, take me through all of that craziness of getting that published.
Man, that was I every time I talk about it, I'm just like, I
Yeah.
don't really understand how I got to that situation or how those two guys got next to me. More so, I'm not playing, but anyway, it was I don't know. Everybody was just so locked in on the shot. Like I had no idea he was next to me, had no idea B was next to me, and then just obviously the theatrics of the ball, the way it went in,
Yeah.
it just made everything crazier. But I didn't know it would be a picture. I didn't know. The way I found out was it was already viral after the game. My assistant coach came to me. He's like, have you seen this picture? And I was like, no. And I was like, oh. So then it was just this big thing. It was everywhere. And I just right place, right time, I guess,
Yeah.
not worrying about it. But I had no idea they were even next to me. It was crazy.
And I imagine you probably don't remember a ton after that, after the shot went in, but like, what do you recall in the midst of
I
after everything happened? Yeah.
Man, Kawhi, he doesn't yell or show too much emotion. That was the
Right.
most emotion I've ever seen out of him. He was yelling really loud. I remember hearing it very clear. All the guys were just
Yeah.
trying to tackle him. It was insane. Like it was, yeah. basically. And then I remember Kyle Lowry. I think he was on the outside looking in, trying to get close to Kawhi, and he couldn't get through. And I remember him throwing me out the way to get next to Kawhi. But man, it was an unbelievable moment, man. It was like,
Yeah.
man, special.
Well, and two, you got to you played it off so well at the parade. Take me through like being in downtown Toronto and seeing that. That has to be a lot of energy to absorb, man.
Oh man, the parade. I think they said it was like between 2 and 3 million people, something crazy. It was a whole country there. That's why,
Yeah.
it was unbelievable. I think they said it was the longest parade ever. So we were partying for the whole day.
Uh-huh.
It was amazing, man. Just to feel the energy of the city. I think nobody worked that day. Everybody was in the city. Everybody was there, and yeah, man. I think I was on the last bus in the parade, so I was able to look back and see like it was. I got some great
Yeah.
footage, great pictures. It's lifelong memories, man.
Well, and you said that Kawhi doesn't talk too much. You know, he was a pacer for about 30 seconds.
30 seconds, yeah.
I'm just curious. You know, he said I'm a fun guy, and then had that awkward laugh. Like, is he an awkward person
He's
or no?
he's not. He's not. He's a. I think he's more so doesn't like the media per se. So what people see, that's what they'll just perceive how he is normally. But like
Right.
in the gym behind closed doors, he's normal. He'll talk to you. He'll joke with you. He's not awkward to be around.
Okay.
He might be a little quiet at times, but he's normal. I've never got that perception of, oh man, I don't know how to talk to him, or he was real cool. He is very funny,
Yeah.
but media and people outside have a different perception.
Well, and two, you talked about the importance of having a role with college basketball, and you played a critical role. If this is correct, you basically simulated Steph Curry when they were trying to prepare for the Warriors, right?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, we had the scout team, which I was on. We had to watch film. We had to kind of prepare, just so we can give the guys that are playing a good look. I don't like to give myself too much credit, but honestly, just throughout the playoffs, I was different players. Okay, this or different tendencies. So whenever we did practice a little bit, you have
Right.
to give a good look and show what they would try to show. So it was cool to just feel like you were involved in doing something, even though you weren't playing. So that was the best part.
I have to ask too, because it's like holding an Oscar or something. When you're holding the Larry O'Brien Trophy, how heavy is that thing?
Very light,
Really?
believe it or not. Yes, and there's
Okay.
multiple. There's multiple of them.
So,
Now I think
were
there's
you
one that's
holding the real one in the picture,
so
or
that's
what?
the thing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I believe so. How they do it is, I believe I have this right. I don't know if I'm right.
Okay.
There's obviously multiple because there's so many people that take pictures with it after and everything. But the main one, it was. I remember it being a little lighter than I thought. It looked so heavy,
Right.
but it wasn't. It wasn't that heavy. But it was pretty cool. And then we were able to we were able to bring it to our hometown and kind of
Oh.
have like show our family and everything. So that's pretty cool.
Well, and I think I recall this correctly. What does it mean to you to have reached the culmination of what most basketball players want in their career, to be called an NBA champion and to share it with your family and especially your dad? I remember him being on the
Yeah,
court, man. That's a big deal.
yeah. It's still like surreal to me. I mean, just even making a NBA roster and playing on the NBA court. Like I remember walking on Milwaukee. I was at Milwaukee. That was my first time stepping on the court. It was only for a few minutes, but I
Mm.
just been feeling like I cannot believe I'm doing this. Like it was never like, oh, I'm supposed to be here. It's about time. It was literally like, wow, I cannot believe this is happening. But
Yeah.
it feels pretty special just to be able to. The 1 year I did have in the NBA, let's say I retire tomorrow, just to experience that and then have it, like you said, a championship with that year.
Mm.
It's just a blessing because like who would have ever thought Toronto win a championship and then let alone I would be on the team. So
Yeah.
it's right place, right time, God's plan. And then like it's just I really don't have words for it because I really still can't believe it when I talk about it sometimes that it's happened.
Somebody that you've carried throughout your career is your best friend Day. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think he would say with everything that's happened, man? What would he be telling
Man, he'd be laughing. First of all,
you?
he'll be like, "How in the hell did you pull this off?" And but he would just, he's obviously like the reason I feel like for everything. I feel like I feel like once he left us, like I just got this crazy motivation and crazy like drive to really make it playing basketball because that's what he wanted. And for me, it was always just fun to play. You know, it was never like I have to make it. That was his like, you know, he was so driven. And then I think that just went into me. And I think he would just tell me, keep going. Congratulations. You've always been like this. You just didn't realize it. And have fun doing it. He would have, no matter what he was doing, he would have fun. So I think that's what he would tell me.
And also, buddy, this is great personal moment for you. You got married recently, right?
I did, man. I got
Yeah.
married. Man, already over a month ago.
Wow, has it been that long? Doesn't seem
It
that
has
long.
been that long. To my college sweetheart, man. She actually went to Marion, and we met in college. But yeah, man, we got married. I'm an old man now, man. It's just, you know, but nah, it's been an amazing summer for me to get married, have my honeymoon, and us building, you know, starting our marriage is pretty cool.
So I don't want to put any pressure on you, but children in the future? I mean, I can imagine you being a coach, man.
Yeah, man. You know, look, you gotta talk to the missus, man,
I
because you
know.
know,
Yeah.
I'm ready. Actually, I have no problem telling. I'm ready. Well, as ready as I can be. You're never ready, but you know, I'm ready as I can be. You know, she's a couple years younger than me, so you know, I think I got to give her a little more time. So, but hopefully soon, man. That's what I'll say.
Well, and as far as basketball is concerned, you're positioned to play in Monaco this coming season, right?
Yep, I'll be there signed 2 years. Hopefully I can find a home and stay there more than 1 year. I'm looking forward to Monaco, man. It's they're really building something great over there. And obviously, I think my wife is happier than I am to live in Monaco.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So
it's pretty, dude. It's gonna be
it
nice.
is, man. It's you know, completely different than the cold that I had last year. But you know, she's excited. I'm excited. I think it'll be a great situation over there for me.
And with all the different places you've lived, and with how crazy things are in this country,
Yeah.
do you hope to stay international or settle in the United
You
States?
know, I think about it all the time. I think it's hard for me to really consider it seriously because my family's here and I'm a big family person. Love hanging out with my family. But you know, I wouldn't live in Europe. I don't think we would, but I would. We talk about Canada. We really do. After experiencing Toronto in that area and it being so close to the States, we talk about Canada quite a bit. So I'm a big fan of Toronto. And
Yeah.
so you never know. But home is home, man. Atlanta is where I'm at now. And
See,
I love it.
my first concern would be like, if you immigrate over there, do you get the insurance or is it only native born Canadians?
See, that's a great question. And I don't
Yeah.
know that answer. So that's going to deter a lot.
All right, Jordan. You know what? You're one of the guys that I want to see win, and it's so cool to have you on the show, have your experience shared with us, and folks, to hear this again, you can check out my website jbkonair.com or get the podcast anywhere by searching JBK on Air. Until next time, have a great day and a better tomorrow.